On today's Locked On Thunder podcast, in this historic beatdown of the Pelicans, SGA kept his streak alive. Let's break it down.
You are Locked On Thunder, your daily Oklahoma City Thunder podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Let's get it going on the Locked On Thunder podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network, your teams every day. I'm your host, media member, and beat writer for Thunder on SI, Rylan Stiles. Follow me on Twitter at Rylan_Stiles. Follow the show on Twitter at LOThunderPod. Let's dive into Oklahoma City continuing to roll this season with a blowout win over the Pelicans. Lou Dort finds his rhythm. The front court impresses. SGA continues his streak. Thank you so much to you everydayers who listen to the show every single day. You've made the Locked On Podcast Network the #1 sports podcasting network in the world. We appreciate that very much. This is Locked On Thunder, Monday through Friday, and after every single game, and our Monday and Thursday 2 p.m. Central live stream with Derek Parker, and our Tuesday and Thursday 3:30 p.m. Central Time live stream with Jeremy Lamb and Tyler Jones on Locked On Thunder live show, the Squad Show version. So we have a lot of content for you. Love that you're here. In this game, the Thunder just mollywopped the New Orleans Pelicans. Just beat them down. No Jalen Williams still as we await his season debut. No Aaron Wiggins in this game. No Kenrich, no Topic. Alex Caruso entered the game questionable with right hand soreness. He was upgraded to active, but he did not play in this game. I think that you see why. I mean, their historic first quarter, of which they won 49-24, it was all she wrote in this wire-to-wire win for Oklahoma City over the New Orleans Pelicans. So there was really no point in wasting the live bullets of Alex Caruso, who left the game early Saturday with this hand soreness injury. And even whenever they played the Pelicans the first time, a couple Sundays ago, Caruso only played less than 12 minutes in that game because it was such a lopsided affair. And you really want to protect a guy like Alex Caruso from himself. And you saw them manage his minutes last year, which ended up being good for him and paying dividends for him in the postseason. I think that this is kind of what that was, because he was upgraded to active, but still did not play. The New Orleans Pelicans, the Pelicans could not do anything at all. On the offensive end, they really relied on some shot variance from three to even give them a fighting chance of offense, especially in that second quarter. The Thunder defense suffocated them in the first quarter. And, you know, I think that when you look at this game, the first thing that you have to note is that you can't let NBA fans talk out of both sides of their mouth on this one. Like, the Thunder did their job. The Thunder beat down the Pelicans. They scored the most points in franchise history in the first quarter, 49 points, the highest first quarter score that they've ever had. So a historic game for Oklahoma City. And today, if you start to talk about this game, you're going to be met with a lot of, well, it was the Pelicans. Well, it was the Pelicans. Yeah, it was the Pelicans. You're absolutely right. The Pelicans are, for all intents and purposes, a flightless bird with no fight in them. And they're terrible. And they're an awful franchise. They fired their coach already. They don't have a first-round pick. They're really on a path to nowhere. That's all true. But those same people who will hold up, it's just the Pelicans, why are you even talking about this game? Are the same people who will say, this league is soft. They don't even play. They don't try. They don't give any effort. And then when a team does give effort every single night, and a team does beat down terrible teams, and a team does care about point differentials and getting blowout wins, and they're so well-oiled that every night they never take a night off, and they have this 1 of 82 mentality, they have this 0-0 mentality, then they're hit with, well, it's just the Pelicans. You can't have it both ways. The Thunder play the exact way that everyone who complains about this league wants a team to play. Every night, no matter if they're playing the class of the league or those in the league that are just decrepit, they play the same way. They put their foot on the gas. They try to win. They do win more often than not as they move to a franchise best start, 14-1. So don't let that cloud what happened tonight. Because OKC first imposed their will on New Orleans, and then they began just trying stuff. And I loved that about this Thunder team. I really did. A constant throughout the Mark Daigneault era in Oklahoma City has been roster exploration, has been him accruing lineup data, across the roster. And this season, I think in addition to that roster exploration, he's kind of, it feels like, let the players break out of the typical mode or a typical role or a typical play style. And now they're just out there trying stuff. And I love that because in this game, in the first and second quarter alone, you saw this Thunder team going out there and they did guard to guard actions, big to bigs. They had inverted pick and rolls with bigs having the ball in their hands and the guards screening for them. They tried a zone defense. They let SGA play off the ball. They tried JWill and Carlson playing together. Like, they did all of that despite having a healthy front court. They mixed out those looks because this is the time to do it. Not only is it the regular season, not only is it the Pelicans, but you had a very comfortable lead in that second quarter, which, to the Pelicans' credit, they took advantage of some of this exploration where guys are trying behind the back passes and guys are trying lobs and they're trying this different stuff. They took advantage of that and they trimmed the margin before halftime. But you want to see this Thunder team get some things on film to see what works, to see what they want to keep around, to see what they want to stress test against better teams, and to allow themselves to have as much optionality as possible for a deep playoff run. Because I think that you're quickly seeing that nothing can replicate the postseason. Nothing can replicate a team scouting you full stop for 7 games. And so often I think that people forget that in the regular season, you're not even really scouting your opponent. You're just kind of out there individually scouting yourself and self-scouting and trying to improve on your identity. And if you happen to win, if you happen to use a couple notes on defending some of the top guys on the other team, so be it. But in the postseason, when a team zero ins on you, you've got to have counters to what you do well. And you've got to have ways to change your identity that they're not expecting. And you can also, we hear this a lot in high school football, actually. You can also just put so much stuff on film that it kind of overwhelms them in the scout. It's like, well, they have had AJay screen for iHeart and have AJay be the cutter and be a lob threat for iHeart. So we got to prepare for that. And making them prepare for everything. I mean, look at this Thunder team. They obviously were the best team last year from wire to wire in the regular season. They end up winning the championship. And look at what they did to the Denver Nuggets, their biggest threat. It was a 7-game series against the best player in the world, in Nikola Jokic, or if you want to call Shai the best player in the world, whatever, like the 1 or 2, 1A or 1B, frankly, not even 1 or 2, 1A and 1B between Shai and Jokic. And look at how they defended Jokic in that series. They tried Chet on him instead of iHeart. Then they put iHeart on him and used Chet as a roller. They had JWill in there for the middle of that series. Then they end the series with Alex Caruso having the biggest defensive plays, guarding a Jokic post up. In one series, they had to go to 5 different looks. And if you never try those sort of things, even if it doesn't work, in the second quarter, some of the stuff didn't work that I listed that they tried, and it allowed the Pelicans to get back into a game a little bit. But if you never go to those things and you have a zeroed-in way of playing, then you're flying blind in the postseason whenever you're forced to change. So that's why it's so important. And in addition to that, the Thunder are so good that the Pelicans can go on that run in the second quarter. They can get back in this game somewhat at halftime, and they can even win the third quarter 32-20 in this game. And yet the Thunder go wire to wire with a blowout win in which Shai doesn't play the fourth quarter, and the Thunder at one point led by 30. Like, that's so impressive about this Thunder team. I don't care who they're playing. And what's interesting about this team, I want to add some context to like the phrase that you always hear Mark talk about, and thus it's kind of by osmosis sunk into everyone's brain who's like in that room, including myself, of calling this team uncommon. Think about where you were in the summer. Think about the thoughts you had about this team, about complacency, about the shortened off season, about how would they respond to being champions. And it's one thing for those of us to sit here like I did all summer on this show and tell you, look, I don't think that that's in their DNA to be complacent. I don't think that's in their DNA to, be high and mighty and not take the regular season seriously. I think that they've instilled that foundation of 0-0 into them, and it's so ingrained into who they are and the fabric of this team that you're not going to have to worry about that. It's one thing for me to say that all summer. Actions speak louder than words. And the actions of this Thunder team, who have had every excuse in the book, right? Shortened off season. Just had a championship run. Now you feel like you kind of know what it's about. Now you feel like you can turn it on in the playoffs. Have already played 3 back-to-back sets. Have already had 2 double overtime games. Have already, had a schedule where you've played 3 Western Conference contenders, and now you're just playing teams that, frankly, how you play against the Pelicans and how you play against the Hornets and how you play against the upcoming Jazz and the Kings, it's not going to matter. You're not going to see those teams when it matters. They've had every excuse in the book on top of being shorthanded. And even in this game, this is arguably one of the healthier games that they've had. Even in this game, they're without their number 2 player, an all-NBA guy, a top 20 guy in this league. They're without their best bench scorer. They've had every excuse in the book to pack it in, to roll over, to have a game where they just don't have their fastball, and to relax, to be complacent. But their actions are that this team is still hungry. They don't only play hungry, they play like they don't know where their next meal is coming from. That's how hungry they play. When they have every reason to lose that humility that brought them to this point, they don't. And that's impressive. That's uncommon. Because the tropes and the stereotypes and the buzzwords that you heard about this team all offseason, they're ingrained in the minds of NBA fans for a reason. Because most of the time, you see that come into play. You see the shortened offseason come into play at the start of the season. You see some complacency. You see some contentment with a team. And it was fair, especially from the national media on the outside who don't intimately know this team, to question that. And the Thunder have quickly answered those questions. And that's what's so uncommon about this Thunder team, who again broke a record tonight with their most points scored in the first quarter in Thunder history. And think about that. Thunder history includes a lot of Hall of Famers, includes a lot of great teams, includes a team last year that had the best point differential in NBA history, includes a lot of teams that were contenders all throughout and have played a lot of bad teams in their day. And also Thunder history, since 2008, they've been one of the most winning franchises in pro sports. If you just look at the win-loss column. And this team continues to set records for that franchise. It's pretty impressive. Coming up, let's talk SGA, who got to his streak of 20 points, who got to keep his streak alive also of sitting out fourth quarters. Let's talk this front court that continues to dominate and so much more. But first, I want to tell you right now, they're good friends over at Rippling, folks. You want to check them out today because they're awesome. If you're a business owner, here's the truth. SaaS promised to make work easier, but the average company is buried in hundreds of apps that slow down your teams and simply don't work together. That's not SaaS, that's SAD. Software as a disservice to you, and that's why you need Rippling. Rippling is a unified platform for global HR, payroll, IT, and finances, all in one place. They've helped millions of businesses replace a mess of disconnected tools with one system designed to give leaders clarity, speed, and control. Everything from onboarding to payroll to IT access and even, of course, the HR of it all runs automatically and perfectly in sync. It's seriously simple to use. It gives companies one source of truth for their people, data, and everything they touch. Whether you want to run an entire HR, IT, or finance operation as one, or you just want to fill the gaps in the software you already have that you might be lacking behind, Rippling can do it all for you, whatever you need. Right now, go get 6 months free when you go to rippling.com/LockedOnNBA. That's RIPPLING.com/LockedOnNBA. That's rippling.com/LockedOnNBA for 6 months free at Rippling. Also want to tell you right now, but good friends over at Prize Picks, folks. I love Prize Picks. And yes, you can use Prize Picks in Oklahoma. One of the few places where you can do that, I think the only place you can do that, at Prize Picks. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. You can make decisions every day, and you do make decisions every single day. But on Prize Picks, being right in those decisions get you paid. Don't miss the excitement of this sports season, whether you're following the NBA, NFL, or even both. It's time right now to jump in and get on the action. Because if you love the NFL and NBA, you can have more on SGA points and more on Patrick Mahomes touchdowns, and you can combine those together. And if you win, you get paid. If you haven't tried it yet, Prize Picks is simply the simplest way to play. Just pick more or less on at least 2 player stats, and if you get them right, you get paid. It takes less than 60 seconds to make your lineup. You can even play anywhere that Prize Picks operates, including California, Texas, Georgia, and Oklahoma. Make sure you check them out today, folks, because I love how simple it is. I love the fact that I can combine Mahomes and Shai and just keep the 2 games very interesting for me. The new stacks feature is a game changer. You can now pick more on, for example, Steph Curry points, threes, and assists in the exact same lineup. Plus, if one of your players leaves the game early for injury, the injury reboot saves your lineup from the loss. And you know how important that is if you've been on Prize Picks before or any site like it. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code LOCKEDONNBA for $50 in your first lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, you play your first $5 lineup as a new customer, you get $50 in lineups afterward if you use code LOCKEDONNBA. That's $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. We're back on the Lockdown Thunder podcast on the Lockdown Podcast Network, your teams every day. Here talking about the Oklahoma City Thunder beating down the New Orleans Pelicans in this game. It was a game that ended at tip-off, as we expected. The Thunder were able to, at intermission, lead 69-56. That's including that second quarter we talked about. Blew them right back out in the third quarter, and it was never in question. They go wire to wire, once leading by 30 points. They never have a lead change, never even have a tie in this game beyond 0-0. OKC wins the glass by 3. OKC had 30 assists tonight. They forced 20 turnovers. The Thunder shot 49% from the floor, 40% from 3, and 82% at the charity stripe. New Orleans shot 48% from the floor, 42% from 3, and 86% from the free throw line. The Thunder won in the paint. They tied on second chance points and fast break points. Again, do not overreact to garbage time minutes. When the starters were out there, they looked as dominant as possible. And let's talk about those starters. Chet Holmgren, he starts the scoring for himself with a transition step through over the New Orleans big man at the rim. He splashed the catch and shoot 3 off of a Shai drive-in kick where Shai gets into the deep paint, kicks it back out to Chet because of how the New Orleans defense is bending, reacting, collapsing onto Shai. He continues to kill it in the mid-range, including off of the DHO in traffic between him and Ihart. I thought that his overall ability to score inside the arc continues to be impressive. And one of the ways that he's able to do that is with his catch radius and his soft hands. He's never going to fumble away an opportunity to score at the rim, even in traffic. And those hands of his allows him to be in a position to either make a bucket or catch it high and get fouled as guards try to jump all over him to get the takeaway. 26 points, 9 rebounds, a block, 3 for 6 from 3, 71% from the floor, 3 for 4 from the free throw line, and a plus 27 in this game. Chet was awesome. I think that Shai played a really good game, and I think that Shai in this game played even better than his box score showed. His box score shows a lot. It's a plus 32 for Shai when he's on the court. It's 23 points, 8 points in the 3 minutes, the last 3 minutes that he played to get to that 20-plus point mark to continue his streak. 8 assists tonight from SGA, 2 rebounds, 3 steals, 3 for 5 from 3. If you want to have some fun today, if you have some time, open up that tab on Safari or Google Chrome or whatever you may use. Look up basketballreference.com and look at Shai's last 5 games as a shooter. You're going to have some fun. Only took 9 shots tonight, SGA. But I think that those 9 shots were impactful, obviously. And of course, he got to the free throw line and was 10 for 10 from the line. So that limits his shot attempts too. But tonight, the Thunder did such a good job of utilizing him off the ball. He kept the ball moving where he's cutting down the lane. Ihart finds him as a cutter. He throws a touch pass to Cason Wallace. Cason Wallace just attacks a slanted defense out of position, attacks off the catch, gets to the paint and finishes. Ihart then finds Shai as a cutter again. He dumps it off to Chet, who's cutting behind SGA for another easy 2 points. They continue to weaponize Shai as an off-the-ball player where he's getting the ball in either advantageous spots for himself or for others, and that allows the Thunder offense to truly thrive, to truly find its rhythm. He's playing off of the facilitation and table setting of Ihart so much more this year than he did last year. We've talked about how AJay has kind of taken some opportunities to bring the ball up the floor and pass it into Shai, an entry pass at the elbow when Shai's already set up in the spots where he likes to score. And this is another area that I've talked about a lot of, yes, they don't have JW yet. And it's one thing to say that of like, hey, they're going to get back an all NBA player and a top 20 player in this league. That's all true. But it's another thing to mention, while this team has improved, and that improvement has been seen whenever J-Dub is not on the court right now because he's hurt, they've improved in ways that complement J-Dub. Like you saw in that NBA Finals series where Shai was screening for J-Dub in that game 4 in Indiana more than he ever has in a single game. And they're playing off of each other in that 15-point fourth quarter for Shai more than they had in a single game before. And it led to such immense success. And I spent the whole summer on this show referencing that game and referencing how they should do that and attack that opportunity more often throughout this season. They're already doing that without J-Dub. And now once J-Dub is back, it's another area that, yes, the team has improved upon while they haven't had J-Dub, but that J-Dub seamlessly fits into and helps them continue to build on what they've already established as an improvement. It's going to be a lot of fun when this team gets J-Dub back, when this team is able to truly, maximize themselves. And so this is just another dimension that continues to make Shai a Swiss Army knife in the starting lineup. And the starting lineup is the most important. I mean, you see it time and time again in the playoffs. Like, you're going to play these guys a whole lot more in the postseason. And so your best 5 and your starting 5 are going to be on the floor naturally more together. And in that unit, he can, of course, attack you in isolation. He can, of course, use his scoring gravity to set others up on the ball as a playmaker. But now you're seeing him more comfortable off the ball. So that's another dynamic. It's another dimension of what this team can do to put themselves in a better position this postseason compared to last postseason. And in this game overall, like the rip through move to rip through and go up above Jose Alvarado, who has his hand caught in the cookie jar for the N1, that blend of size, athleticism, strength, and touch, it's something that we've never seen before. It's something that can only be compared to the likes of like Michael Jordan. Like, it's unbelievable, frankly, what Shai's able to blend together in his game. The live ball passing from him, the live dribble passing from him has been leaps and bounds above where it was even a year ago, where he did a year ago make an improvement as a playmaker. You saw him again firing a bounce pass to Ihart off the dribble in this game for Ihart to get 2 easy points. Those step back threes were falling. And that 5-point flurry, where he takes that step back 3 and then gets to the line to ensure his 20-point streak stays alive at the end of the third quarter, it was a lot of fun. And once again, you're seeing Shai not have to play the fourth quarter. Let's talk about Ihart. Because Ihart in this game not only flirted with the double-double, but he passively flirted with a triple-double. We'll talk about how he did that in this one coming up. But first one right now, but your friends over at Robinhood, go check out Robinhood today because Robinhood is incredible, folks. You want to go check them out because your ambition just met its match. With Robinhood, you play for the win, not just on game day, but every day, locking in on every opening, beating your PR, beating it again. Folks, you channel that into your money, and Robinhood puts you in control of your money. You can trade stocks and ETFs, options, futures, and crypto all on one platform. You can now build and execute your own trades on a desktop with Robinhood Legends advanced tools, or take advantage of the new Robinhood strategies that are tailored to you, a portfolio managed by a team of experts from Robinhood. You expect more from yourself, expect more from your money starting today at robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, that's robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. Also want to tell you right now, but good friends over at Rajit, folks, because they are there for you in any sort of time and need. Let's be real. Making excuses doesn't solve anything. We've all heard them before. It's just stress. I'm tired. It happens to everyone sometimes. But when it comes to performance, sometimes your body just needs a little extra support. And that's where Rajit comes in. Rajit.com offers fast-acting, doctor-prescribed treatments for ED designed to help you stop making excuses and start making moves. Rajit makes it easy to get started. You can connect with a board-certified doctor 100% online. No awkward waiting rooms, no in-person appointments. It's prescribed. Your treatment ships directly straight to your door with a discreet packaging. The process is fast, simple, and private. And it's all handled by real doctors. It's about confidence, connection, and getting back to the moments that matter most to you. Visit Rujit, RUGIET.com/LockedOnNBA to get 15% off your first order. That's Rujit, RUGIET.com patreon.com/LockedInNBA. And don't forget to use our code LockedInNBA so they know we sent you. Rajit, stop making excuses and start making moves. We're back on the Locked On Thunder podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network, your teams every day. Here talking Thunder beatdown of the Pelicans. Thank you so much for making us your first listen every single morning, every single day. We're here for you talking Thunder basketball. Isaiah Hartenstein, he was incredible tonight as a scorer, and this is just more of the same. It was business as usual of him not only being around the rim, but the way that he's almost like a tight end or a receiver that you talk about whenever you're watching football on Saturdays and Sundays of like, oh, look at them going and high pointing that pass. iHeart does that, and the way that he high points entry passes has the ball halfway to the rim already, and it's just easy buckets upon easy buckets. He's also improved as a cutter and a roller, and he's more aggressive looking for his shot. He had that play where he's in the short corner, and Isaiah Joe starts attacking off the catch, and iHeart cuts baseline, and Joe finds him with the behind-the-back pass that I thought was very unique for both of those guys. Like Joe trying the behind-the-back pass and nailing it, and iHeart instinctively cutting and cutting in a way that is backdoor, that it still gives Joe room to operate and not play in a crowd, not turn it over, but still frees up iHeart as an option for Joe on that drive. He threw an alley-oop from the elbow to AJ Mitchell for 2 easy points, cleaning up second chance opportunities and creating them himself on rebounds, converting at the rim. He gets a steal, one of his 4 steals, and goes coast to coast for the and 1. 16 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 steals tonight, a block, and 70% shooting from the floor. Folks, he shot 70% from the floor tonight, and one of his misses was from 3. You just don't take that 3. He's missed 2 shots that he'll actually take whenever the playoffs are here. So it's like iHeart has been phenomenal, as Jim Rome would say, in this season. Isaiah Joe, I thought that this was a really good game. I thought that Isaiah Joe will not get the exact credit he deserves because he does finish with 14 points. On 3 rebounds, 4 assists, but he shot 5 for 11 from the floor. Look, 4 for 10 from 3 is still pretty good from him, but I love the shot quality. To me, it's all about the shot quality and attempts that I really like from him. He had one where he's coming off of double screens where Chet sets a drag screen and he gets a DHO from iHeart, and right off of that DHO, he launches a 3 and nails it. Like, that is everything that we've stressed about Isaiah Joe and Aaron Wiggins. We spent this whole summer on this show talking about how it's a big prove-it year for these 2 guys, Joe and Wiggins, where we're talking about how their minutes continue to diminish in the postseason. How can they make that stop? How can they make themselves valuable to this team in the postseason? And Isaiah Joe has been all about movement shooting. He's gotten so much better at that skill, not only because of his individual improvement, but because of the togetherness of this front court double big duo that allows stuff like that to happen. He had the between the legs pass by iHeart, which was too high for Isaiah Joe. So iHeart tries this between the legs bounce pass to Isaiah Joe cutting. It's too high to handle. It goes high in the air. Isaiah Joe leaps up and volleyball spikes it down to iHeart, and then iHeart finishes the play. That was a wacky one. 14 points for Isaiah Joe. Again, 4 for 10 from 3, and the 10 threes you like to see him get, a lot of them being on movement or at least more relocation from 3, not so much the stationary catch and shoot stuff that you like to see from Isaiah Joe. AJ Mitchell, I thought this was the first game where he didn't have his fastball, so to say. He wasn't bad. He wasn't great. He wasn't good. He was just like, okay, AJ Mitchell was out there tonight. He got 11 points. He got 2 boards. He got an assist to steal. He only shot 28% from the floor, 0 for 4 from 3. I really want to see AJ Mitchell's 3-point numbers turn around for him and get back to what they were as a rookie, get back to what they've been in summer league, get back to what they've been as a college player. We'll still wait and see where his 3-point shot level's off at. But he did have 4 attempts at the free throw line. And that's worth highlighting. The ability to recklessly get downhill, but relentlessly do it and keep your body control and composure on your way to the rack gets him so many free throws. And it's such a skill to truly draw the whistle, especially as a young player who doesn't have the reputation calls. It's a legitimate skill. And think about this for a second, because I know that we oftentimes go to AJ Mitchell's free throw rate, and we've been doing that since the summertime, and you might be tired of hearing about it. But the reason why it's so worth pointing out is because look at the top 3 guys on this roster. SGA, J-Dub, Chet. At one point in their career, and especially at the point of their career that AJ's at right now, the talking point around those 3 guys, And for a guy like J-Dub, until we see him play this year, it got better in the playoffs, but until we see him play this year, it's still a talking point around him, is that they've got to figure out how to get to the line. They've got to get that skill of getting to the free throw line and how it jumps your production. AJ Mitchell waltzes into this league with that skill. And what is the skill? You've got to play with force downhill. You can't settle for floaters. You can't settle for soft layups. You've got to play physical. You've got to have a strong gather. The gather is such an important part of this. Because if you have a strong gather and you're rising the ball through the air, and that ball is solid as a rock in your hands, they have no choice but to slap your wrist, slap your forearm, grab you, and it becomes even more obvious. If you're not sitting there juggling the ball, right, because you went up strong, the contact becomes more obvious. And AJ does all those things wise beyond his years in the sense of his NBA life, and it's letting him get to the free throw line. And it's a trend from his first ever game. Like last year, the conversation around this team was that they had the lowest free throw rate in NBA history at one point. And the only two guys getting to the line were Shai and AJay. And AJay, who only played 30-something games and who was a rookie, finishes with a top 5 free throw rate on the team last year as a young guard. And he continued that trend today. And he continued that trend all season. Lu Dort got going from 3. Goes 2 for 3 to start on back-to-back possessions to start the game. Like on the first 2 possessions, he shot 3 threes and made 2 of them. He had 4 threes in the first quarter. I thought he had some really good defensive moments tonight, and some of that was the shot variance and shot making of New Orleans that we talked about earlier. Like he had one that he nearly fouled Jeremiah Fears from 3, and Fears made it. And I highlight that to show how unique Lu Dort is in his ability to pick his contest spot and landing spot perfectly. And that is a skill. We don't really think about that, but there's so many ways where you could commit the cardinal sin of fouling a jump shooter, especially if you're playing as hard as Lu Dort plays, where they have the high 5 rule, they have the landing space rule, and Lu has an ability to leap up to contest a shot and land kind of off to the side of a shooter after getting into their chest first and contesting the shot and trying to force misses. Credit to Fears, he knocked it down, and Fears has been one of the lone bright spots for New Orleans as an OU alum. But credit to Fears for making it. That was still a great defensive play from Lu. Like that was a great defensive play from Lu. The shot just went in. He had that pick in the corner where he's just able to get back and intercept the pass that was heading to the corner for an open 3-point shooter. He finishes with 17 points, a steal, 4 for 6 from the 3-point line, 1 rebound, 1 block, 1 assist. That's why we're not concerned about Lu Dort. He needs to knock that rest off. This was a good start to it in New Orleans. You know, I thought that at the end of the day, the only person that like you didn't have a huge, brag about game from was JWill. I mean, this was obviously a forgettable game from JWill. And yeah, the turnovers were not great from him. He only went 0 for 1 from 3 and 0 for 2 overall, but he had 4 turnovers. He had 5 defensive rebounds. He had an assist. The essence of JWill is that of inconsistency, and it's okay. It's like, I think that some of these guys like JWill and Brandon Carlson, and follow me here, this is a half-baked take, to be frank with you. But I think that some of these guys at the end of this roster almost get punished because of how good the rest of the team is and because of how many guys in the second round that not only hit, but become the toast of the league. Again, AJ Mitchell is being talked about on the Bill Simmons pod in November during the heart of football season. That's how good he's been. And so then it's like, well, why isn't JWill being that great? It's like, dude, JWill's like a top 10%, top 1 percentile outcome of second round picks. And yeah, not every night does he have his fastball. Not every night is he going to light it up from 3. Not every night is he going to consistently play good defenses at undersized big. But overall, you take what you get from JWill. And tonight, I think that, yes, the offensive stuff was not good for him. And it's been a season of more bad than good offensively for JWill. But at the end of the day, it's going to turn around for him, I think, from 3. And as soon as that happens, then you can really start to see his improvement. I will say the one gripe I have with JWill is the flashes defensively. Like this season, you can isolate yourself a nice package of clips where JWill is doing things on the defensive end to be a vertical rim protector instead of a grounded rim protector taking just charges, to be someone who is deflecting entry passes and taking away post-ups. You can put together a nice package of him doing that all season long so far, but then you can also put together a low-light package. And he needs to gain some consistency of no matter what's happening on the offensive end, no matter what's happening around him defensively, no matter what's happening around his game individually, that he consistently is an impactful player on the defensive end, both defending post-ups, but also mixing it up on the glass. And tonight, he had 5 rebounds. That was good, but like you still want to see him put bodies on guys more often and more consistent. So I will grant you that complaint with JWill. I need to see some more consistency from him on the defensive end and on the glass in terms of like the high motor level of plays. But overall, he has made improvements. The three-point shot, I think, is still going to fall for him eventually, and we'll see where we land on JWill here in a few weeks. And if it continues to go this way, we'll have to reevaluate some things. But JWill was always going to be a guy who was a very matchup dependent big. Folks, he was that way last year. Like last year, as you love him at the parade and you love him at the end of it all, and you don't win that title without his defense on Jokic. He had one of the top 3 most important series of the year in a championship season and doesn't play in the West Finals, doesn't play in the finals. He's a matchup dependent big, and that's okay. He's a 3rd string center who's a 2nd round pick. Like, we kind of get lost in the sauce of like, why isn't everybody being elite? It's like, he's not an elite player, and that's fine. He does his job very well. He's got to do his job a little bit more consistently defensively. He's got to start hitting his threes, and nobody understands that and knows that more than JWill does himself. That's what we got today. Make sure you subscribe to Locked On Thunder anywhere you get your podcast from, Monday through Friday. We're here for you, plus our 4 live streams a week. Our next one is Tuesday at 3:30 p.m. Central Time with Jeremy Lamb, Tyler Jones, and our Locked On Thunder squad show. Until then, folks, be good and be good to one another.